All right, these are the things that you need out on your desk right now. You need your Chapter 5 notes, your red pen, pencil, calculator, and 2 pieces of paper. The first thing that I'd like you to do is go ahead and write down this assignment right here, 5.6. So if you would just go ahead and pause the video, give them a second to write that down. What I'd like you guys to do now is look in your notes, and I want you to turn to section 5.5. Today we're going to do the lesson on graphs of proportional relationships. How many of you have ever seen a coordinate plane that looks like this before? All right, my goal hopefully today is for this to be a review to you, but I do want to make sure that you remember some certain things that we need to know about the coordinate plane. There is an X and there's a Y line. Does anyone remember which one the X is? Which one is it?
The one going up?
Not the one going up. The one going to the side. So everyone take your red pen, and I'd like you to draw a little line to that. That is the x-axis. So what is the one going up and down called? The y. Okay, so take the y and then just go ahead and label that line is the y line. The next thing that's really important to know is this word called the origin. So if you would with your red pens, write down the word origin. And the origin is basically where something begins or where something starts. The origin for us is going to be at 0, 0. So write that in your red pen on your notes. Okay, now the next thing that's very important to do is to label your graph correctly. Okay, so you don't need to write this down, but this right here is what we would call the origin. This little point where the x and the y meet, that is the 0, 0. All right, so what is one number bigger than 0? 1. So everyone go ahead. We're going to label the X line first. Now here's what's super important. Please make sure you're not labeling inside of a box, but you are labeling on top of the line. The first line that's away from the 0, the origin, is line number 1. Going to the right, this would be line 2, 3, 4, and 5. Check to make sure you have labeled that with your pencil on top of the line. Now think of this like a number line. If this right here were the 0, what would be to the left of the 0 on a number line? -1. So now on top of this line, if you guys would, write -1. Keep going. What would it be? -2. Very good. -4. And then -5. This that we just labeled was the x-axis, the one going from left to right. Now we're going to move up and down. Remember, once again, this was the origin, 0, 0. So it was a 0 for the x, and now it's going to be a 0 for the y. Going up, guess what number the next row is? 1. Okay, this line, that whole line right there is line number 1. So on the line, I want you to label it 1. Going up, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once again, it is very important. You are not labeling inside of a box. You are labeling the line. So going down, what would that first line underneath the x-axis be? -1. Once again, label on top of the line. And that's down to -6. Are there any questions on how we just labeled our coordinate plane? Okay, now I'm going to focus over here on point A. What does point A say? -5 and 6. Okay, so there's something very important. I want you guys to repeat after me, and even those of you listening to the video, repeat after me. Start at the origin. All right, so if you remember, the origin is this right here, right there, right? 0, 0, okay? Repeat after me. Go left or right. If the first thing it's telling me to do is go -5, if I am starting right here at the origin, which way would -5 be, left or right? I am going to the left, okay? So we're focusing here. This is the -5. I'm not finished, though, because I still have that 6, okay? So I started at the origin. I went left or right. Now, do you think I'm going up or down for +6? I am going to go up. So the point is going to be labeled at -5, +6. This was, as you can see over here, point A. So I'm going to write a little A next to that point. All right, so that's how we label point A. Let's go on to point B. Everyone repeat after me. Start at the origin. I want you to actually put your finger right here at the origin button, okay? Put your finger there. Now, go left or right. Which way am I going to go for a -2? Left. To the left. Everyone put your finger now on the x-axis to the left on -2. Then go up or down. Which way would 4 be? Up or down? Up. So we're going -2 and then up 4. What point will I label that? B. Correct. That's problem B. All right, let's now go and focus on C. What does C say? 5 and 3. Everyone repeat after me. Start at the origin. I want your finger to be on the origin on your actual paper, okay? Repeat after me. Go left or right? Am I going left or am I going right? I'm going right because it was a +5. Repeat after me. Then go up or down. What will I do? Go up. So we're going right 3 and up, right 5 and up 3. And label that point C. The next one is a tricky one. Problem D. What do points say that I have to label? 0 and 2. Repeat after me. Start at the origin. So now the first number tells me which way I'm going for left or right. Where will I go for left or right? 0. I'm not going anywhere. So keep your finger right there for that 0. Now let's move on to the 2. That's going up or down. Should I go up or should I go down? Up because it's a +2. Notice it's staying right there on the y-axis, the y line that's going up and down. Okay? And then I'm going to label that as point D. Last and final one. Repeat after me. Start at the origin. Then go left or right. Which way do I go for that one? I'm going to go right. How many? 2. And finally, repeat after me. Then go up or down. Am I going up or am I going down? Down to -6. And label that point E. All right, so that is how you label points on the coordinate plane. Are there any questions? All right, looking at the next one, it says, tell whether x and y are proportional and explain your reasoning. For this, there's 2 ways to tell if something's proportional. We know beforehand we were saying they're proportional if they're what? Equal to each other, okay? So if they're equal to each other. Now, another way is to figure out if it's passing through the origin. What points are the origin? 0, 0, okay? It's where the x and the y meet. So what I want you to do on the side is just write it like this, x, comma, y, all right? The x is always going to come first, and the y will always come second, kind of like it does in the alphabet. So we're going to rewrite over here. The first one you can see in the box, the x is a 1, and the y is? -2. Rodney, what will I write for the next one?
2 is x and 0 is y.
You are correct, 2 and 0. Ariana, what will I write for the next one?
3 and 2.
3 and 2 is correct. And Miley, the last one? 4 and 4. The next part that's very important is to make sure we have labeled our lines correctly. Okay, so remember the origin is 0, 0. Going to the right, label on top of the lines, not in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going to the right. And -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5 going to the left. Remind me again, guys, which axis was that?
X.
That is the X line. Very good. And going up and down, that is my Y. Okay, so going up, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then it actually goes all the way up to 6. Looking at the next part, I want you guys to see if you can tell me what I did wrong. Does anyone see how I labeled this incorrectly?
Yes.
The
this one
numbers
has
on
5 and
the
the top one
y
has
has
6.
Look at this right here. Do you guys see this first line? It got skipped. Do you see that? I want you to check to see, did you accidentally do that on your paper? A lot of times people are accidentally skipping lines. That will mess up the entire graph. Okay, so instead, how should it have been done? You have to label the very first line, -1, -2, -3, -4. And be careful, as I have seen, a lot of people are actually labeling it just inside the box. Please do not label the box. What are we labeling? We're labeling the line. Okay, so it should be labeled all the way down to the bottom to -6. How many of you would say your coordinate plane looks right and it looks just like the one up here? All right, if it doesn't, erase it and fix it. If you accidentally wrote it in the box, or if you skipped a line and didn't get down to -6, just erase the numbers and make sure you are very precise and accurate on how you label the coordinate plane. Okay, repeat after me. Start at the origin. I want everyone to put your finger on the 0, 0. That's our origin. Repeat after me. Go left or right? Am I going left or am I going right? I'm going to go to the right. How many? 1, okay? Then go up or down. Which way am I going? Down to -2. Go ahead and label it. Now, it doesn't tell us to label it A, B, C, or D, so we're just going to plot the point. Let's go to the next one. Start at the origin. Go left or right. Which way will I go?
Right.
I'm going to go to the right. How many?
0.
Look at the first number.
2.
2. Then go up or down. How many am I moving up or down? 0. So we're going to stay right there on the x-axis. Go to the next one. Everybody put your finger on the origin. Go left or right. It says 3 and 2. Am I going left or am I going right?
Right.
Go to the right. How many? 3. Then go up or down. How many? Up 2. I want you to do the last one on your own. Start at the origin, then go left or right, then go up or down. How many of you would say you ended up here, going right 4 and then going up 4? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do for this part is we're going to connect the dots. Basically, we're making us a straight line. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, just try to make it as straight as you can. As you can see, the line would keep extending further up and further down. Here's my question. In order to tell if something is proportional or not, I taught you, you have to have it pass through the origin. Is this line ever going to pass through the origin? No. What about if it kept going? Like, let's just say that it kept getting higher and higher and higher. Would it eventually end up at 0, 0? What if it went lower and lower? No, it is never going to hit this point. So what we're going to say when it asks us number 2, are they proportional? The answer is no. And the reasoning where it says explain your reasoning is it doesn't pass through the origin. The only way that it would be proportional is if it passed through 0, 0 or if it passed through the origin. All right, looking at problem B, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and label your coordinate plane. So we know we start at the origin. Going to the right is my positive numbers. Going to the left is the negative numbers. Double check to see as you're labeling it. Are you labeling on top of the line or are you labeling in a box? If you're in a box, erase it and fix it. Okay, going up, we've got our positive numbers, and going down, labeling on the line, we have our negative numbers. Next, we're going to focus over here on the orange table that we have there. Remember, the x always comes first and the y always comes second. So my points are going to be -1 and -2. Chloe, what will I write for my next points? 0, 0. Gabe, the next ones? 1 and 2. All right, so every time you're going to start at the origin, you can either put your pencil tip at the origin or your finger. We're going to go left or right first every time because that's the x-axis. Which way am I going, left or right? Left because it's a -1, so we're going left to the -1, and then go up or down. Which way? Down. So we've got that point right there. Where will I plot the next point? In the middle at the origin, 0, 0. Thomas, what will I do for the next one?
Go to the right once and then go up twice.
Go to the right once and up twice. That is correct. I have no more points to plot, so now what will I do?
Draw the line.
Draw the line. Okay, notice once again this line could continue going on and on forever. The next question is asking us, are they proportional, yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Because it passes through the origin.
You are correct. So when it asks us to explain the reasoning, yes, because it passes through the origin. All right, let's look at the next page, number 3. The graph shows the speed of a subway car Find the speed in miles per minute. I just want us to look at this to see if we can find the x and the y axis. If you would, with your red pen, circle the x and circle the y. On the left side, going up and down, you can see we are finding the distance. What units are next to that word distance? Miles. Take your red pen and underline, a sideways underline, miles. And underneath on the x-axis, we are labeling the time in what units? Minutes. Take your red pen and underline that. So the question is asked us is find the speed in miles per minute. Do you guys remember on our test that we had yesterday where we were finding the unit rate? What did the denominator have to be? The number 1. So right now we're trying to kind of find the unit rate to figure out how many miles it's going per 1 minute. Do you guys see the 1 down there on that graph? Here's the 1 right there. If you would, take your red pen and go up to the dot. Now if I were to come over here and continue, what is the distance that is traveled in 1 minute? What's it say there? Where did we end up right here? 1/2, all right? So when it asks us, find the speed in miles per minute, the answer is 1/2 mile per 1 minute. So yesterday on your test, many of you left it like that. Some of you like to write out the actual words, 1/2 mile per minute. And I'm okay with you however you write it. Either one of these answers is fine. Okay, now I have not had everyone take their test yet, which is why I'm not giving the tests back today. And I will be out tomorrow for my son's spelling bee, so I'm actually going to end up giving you your tests back when we come back from Thanksgiving vacation. Okay, but soon your grades should be on the portal, so you guys will be able to look up and at least see how you did on yours. If you would, go ahead and pull out your red pen, and I want you to fill in this slide in your notes with your red pen. Okay, so for this, what you see is a formula for the constant of proportionality. Proportionality is like something that's proportional or something that's equal or equivalent, okay? Take your red pen, if you would, and just draw a little cloud around y equals kx. This is going to be an important formula that we are going to want to use today. Now you can see I've got something we wrote in red up here that's pointing to the k. What is that? Unit rate. So the k is going to be our unit rate. And please know the graph of this line of proportionality is always going to pass through the origin. That's why just a minute ago when we were saying, is this proportional? It is only proportional if it passes through the origin or through 0, 0. So let's look at our final problem for today, modeling real life. The graph here shows the area y in square feet that a robotic vacuum cleans in X minutes. Find the area cleaned in 10 minutes. How many of you have a vacuum like that, a Roomba or a Shark or something like that that cleans your house, okay? So here's what it's asking us. It's asking us, how much can it clean in 10 minutes? So let's examine our graph to see if we can just notice some information about it. Do you guys see the X and the Y axis? All right, let me have everyone take your red pen, circle the X, circle the Y. My X is going to come out in time or in minutes. Everyone underline that. And the Y comes out in area or in square feet. Okay, so first things first, I want us to actually write down the definition or the formula for the constant of proportionality. What was that formula we just put in a little cloud up there? Y equals kx. With your red pen, if you would, write y equals kx. So the K, what did we say the K represents? What's it say in your notes? A unit rate. Okay, you wrote that in the little line that's pointing to the arrow. The K represents the unit rate. A unit rate has to have a denominator of 1. So my denominator here is going to be minutes. So I want to look to see how much it has cleaned at 1 minute. So I want you to find that 1 and go all the way up to the dot. The 1 in minutes is how much square feet, class? 16. So guess what? Instead of us writing, again, y equals kx x, guess what number I'm going to plug in for the k?
16.
16, because that's the unit rate. All right, so write down exactly what it is that I am writing down there. Now, if I were to, let's say I were to rewrite y equals 16, and the x is standing for what at the bottom? Minutes. If I wanted to know for 1 minute, guys, what's 16 times 1? 16. So that means in 1 minute, it has gone 16 square feet. Now let's imagine that instead, I didn't want to know 1 minute, but I wanted to know 2 minutes. Guys, what is 16 times 2? 32. So in 2 minutes, it would have covered 32 square feet. Let's imagine now instead that I wanted to know in 3 minutes. Put this in your calculator if you have a calculator there. How much does it cover in 3 minutes? 48. Now going back to my original problem, I don't need to know 1, 2, or 3 minutes. It says find the area cleaned in 10 minutes. So what am I going to put there instead of the x? I'm going to put a 10. You guys do that on your own and then find your answer. So guys, what is the area cleaned in 10 minutes?
160.
160, not feet, square feet. And that's what happens in 10 minutes. Okay, so you're able to use that formula for the constant of proportionality to help you find that. And here's why. If this went on and on forever, listen, this would just keep going and going and going and going way off the page, right? We can't always have these monster graphs. So if we have a formula like this, it helps us to know what some of the bigger numbers would end up being on that graph. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about your virtual learning. Remember, Monday and Tuesday there is no school, but there is still an assignment that you have to do, all right? So for Monday and Tuesday, and honestly, it doesn't matter which day you do this on. And I'm going to be linking the YouTube video into the Google Classroom today. So if you do want to do it tonight, you can do it tonight and get it over with and not have to wait and do it during Thanksgiving week break. What you're going to do is you're going to go onto Google Classroom and you're going to look for the 5.6 YouTube video. Once you do that, you'll watch the video. You need to take your notes home. These same notes that we just took notes in, look right now, you can see the next one says 5.6. Everybody look at your notes for me real quick. Look at the 5.6. Notice it's less than a page and a half. What is 5.6 entitled? Scale drawings, okay? For this, you are going to need a ruler for the assignment. So hopefully you have a ruler at home, or if you have one in your locker, then you need to take it home with you, okay? So you're going to watch the YouTube video. You need to fill in those notes that you see right there. The YouTube video is only 13 minutes long. Please do not cheat yourself and just freeze the video and copy it down and move on and make it take 3 minutes. I know how students can do. You then are not learning the concept. So please do not do that, okay? It's only 13 minutes of your time. And then you will see there is an 8-question assignment. You're going to find this on Big Ideas. Just like we always do, you're going to do it on a piece of paper, okay? And then you're going to submit it on Big Ideas. When we return to school after Thanksgiving break, November the 30th, then you will take this and you're going to turn this in to me, okay? Next up, this is tonight's homework. If you would, pull out a piece of paper if you haven't written this down yet. And tonight's homework also has 8 questions. Right now, you've still got a good amount of time left in class that I'm going to have you start 5.5. Here's one thing that I want you to notice. You will need a graph on numbers 14, 16, and 18. Okay? So the first 4 problems today on your homework are all review problems. The next ones are about today's lesson. Because you won't have a coordinate plane there. Instead, you're going to draw your own little coordinate plane like this. Okay? Going to the right, you would label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? I know once again this looks a little different than how we just did it in our notes, but for your homework tonight, once again, this is how you're going to make it look on your notebook paper. Does this make sense? Okay, let me do just a couple points with you so you can kind of see what it's going to look like tonight. Remember, don't skip any lines. Let's imagine that we had something that said 1 and -3. Where do I start every time, guys? At the middle, at the origin. So I'm going to go to the right, how many? 1, and then go up or down. Which way? Down to -3. Okay, so it would look kind of like this. Then let's imagine that I had like a 5 and 3. Start at the origin. Where do I go next? To the right, 5, and then up 3. Okay? And then you would connect the dots. Whoop. That didn't look like a good connect. All right, and then it'll ask a question like this. Is it proportional? Class, is that proportional? No, why not? It did not pass through the origin. Okay, so once again, I'm going to keep this kind of frozen up here on the screen, but once again, tonight's homework on 14, 16, and 18 in the book, or 5, 6, and 7 on Big Ideas, you do need to draw a graph that looks like this. Okay, once again, at this time, you guys may go ahead and start your homework.